Hello, hello. Michelle Abraham here with the High Vibe Podcast Network podcast. We are behind the mic today with one of our featured podcasters on our network, Elisa Boogaerts. Elisa, how are you doing?
Hey, Michelle. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show and for being in the network. Super excited.
Absolutely. So awesome. Well, guys, I want to tell you about Elisa and her show. But let me just tell you, I've known Elisa for a long time. Our time together started in our high school years. So it's been so fun to see Elisa up in the business world too, and part of the same connections and networks. And we've worked on projects together, and it's been really cool because how many people get to say that about high school friends? You don't get to work in your adult life with high school friends from like 35 years ago, or I don't want to beat this too much, but
yeah,
we'll go anyways.
Especially like our journeys, because like, you know, we're like started in the same city, then we even traveled together, but then our like professional lives, like, you know, went completely different directions. And then now we found ourselves connected again, which is so awesome.
I left Elisa in Australia. I didn't see you for like 10 years. Pretty much. So funny. So awesome. So let me tell you guys a little bit more about Elisa. She's amazing. She's a launch strategist and a project manager. She's been the behind the scenes of so many successful entrepreneurs that you see online these days. She helps established coaches launch their online programs and events easily. Oh my gosh, let me tell you, Elisa is a systems person, someone that people like me definitely need in their business so we can stay on track. So she helps them focus so they can scale with ease. And for the last 15 years, she's been in project management, and she uses that to get her clients ready to launch their in a very structured and organized way. And I've been on the receiving end of that. It's been amazing. So she works with teams, helps work with launch plans. And this way, the coach can be speaking and selling and filling their programs. And Elisa's got it all taken care of on the back end. It's like every coach's dream. I love that. Now, that is not your podcast, though, Elisa. So tell us a little bit about your podcast.
Yeah, it's called Authentically Elisa, and I'm in season 2 at the moment. So it started out because when I started my entrepreneur journey, I was a life coach. And so when I launched my podcast, I had just pivoted into this sort of project management, business operations, you know, working with coaches. But I still really love life coaches. I love life coaches. I do to this day. And so I wanted to interview them, and it really, you know, like to talk about authenticity and how to be your authentic self. And I got to interview a lot of like healers and life coaches and stuff like that. And then I was like, okay, you know, I kind of wanted to line up a little bit more with my business. So now we're in the season where it's like, okay, how can you run your business with authenticity, and how can you do it with integrity? And what kind of like started all that was that, especially I just noticed during COVID is kind of when I came into the entrepreneur world. You know, a lot of people did. And, you know, that time where you're like, oh, I got so much time. Like, what am I going to do with myself? And I remember thinking, because I'd been introduced to life coaching years before. And I was like, oh, yeah, that life coaching thing, that would be pretty cool. And of course, yeah, like everybody went online, and all of a sudden there was a lot of sort of like business coaches. And I found like a lot of people got scammed, to be honest. And there was some businesses that were in integrity, but many that were not in integrity, and just kind of, you know, charging high prices for things and not delivering. I've heard ton of nightmare stories. And so with this podcast, I really want to inspire people to be authentic business owners and to run their businesses with integrity, so that, you know, we can make the entrepreneur world and the world a better place if we're all coming it from an authentic place and very aligned with our values.
Yeah, I love that so much. And it's interesting because I bet your first season of podcasts, the people you were interviewing, led to some work and to some clients, which then led you to shifting to another season. And I think there's a couple of pullaways here that I want our audience to kind of get, is that when you set up a podcast, it gives you this like connection tool. Especially when you're new to an industry or new to a space, it's really cool to use the podcast to like get connected with other people and start to build a network. But then I think it's also really cool. So that's a cool way to like meet people that you're going to maybe perhaps partner with. And then the second season, which I love that you've shifted, and for people to know that it's okay to have a second season that's slightly different than the first season. I think when we start a podcast, we think about it like this, like, you know, it has to be one way and then it can't change. And I know that was one of the things that stopped me from launching for so long. So tell me a little bit about that experience, connecting with people, being new to an industry, starting a podcast. Has that been a successful way for you to connect with others?
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. And totally, because I had been doing so much like networking and stuff. And so in that, I love that as part of networking. And then when you meet somebody new, I always ask like, how can I support you? And one way that I can do that is having people on my show. And even now, the people that I meet, like we could be JV partners, we could support each other, we could be collaboration partners, strategic alliances, all the things. And so it's like a really nice way to get to know someone better and to build that connection and build a stronger relationship with them to see where things might go from there. So I really loved it. It was a great way of making connections and really, just building those relationships. I think because it's so much fun on a podcast where you just like having a chat and you often talk about things, and also to talk for 25 minutes. If you just sort of meet people in networking, or maybe you might have a one-on-one with them, usually if the conversations are short or they're very targeted about something. But just to actually speak with somebody and learn all about them and why they're so passionate about their business and learn their genius, I think it's just so much fun. I love it.
That's cool. Yeah, because you don't need to have a coffee chat anymore. You don't need to go for coffee. Just feel like, come on my podcast. Then we have a conversation. And in fact, I wasn't doing discovery calls for a long time. I would just say, come on my podcast and we can talk, right? Know you better and know what excites you and that kind of thing. That's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah. And then it's a great way also, like, you follow up and then you promote them, right? So as another contact point. And then you have like their email and their connection. So you can always reach out to them afterwards and see where things go.
Yeah. And I think most importantly, you built a relationship now. It's not just an email. So now it's like, I remember looking at my email list after podcasting for a while and be like, I know every single one of these people on this email list. Like, how many other entrepreneurs can actually see that? Not just a list of people, like random names. Like, you actually know all these people. You have a conversation with them all. I think that's a great place to start in business and start a relationship. Plus, that you just said something really cool that I want to make sure our listeners hear too. You said two cool things. You get to lead with an invitation. How can I support you in your business? That's always one that's like, a great one to start a relationship with. And then you get to do it again by promoting the episode. So the two gives that you get to give before you've ever received anything other than amazing content and having, which is a gift, which is a great to receive too, right?
Exactly.
So efficiently creating content and leading with a give first. I think it's a great way to do it. And I love how your show is so perfectly aligned with your business to do that.
Yeah, exactly. And I even noticed now, like you were saying about like the list of people that right now I'm looking at doing some market research for a new program that I want to launch. And so I was thinking about who could I reach out to who might want to help me. And I actually wrote on there, I was looking at my list yesterday, and one bullet point said, every woman that's been on your podcast, like, reach out to all of them. Because of course I have that relationship and I'm sure that they would love to help me out with that. And so I was like, oh, yeah, like I got to look at my list of whatever 80 something episodes and go reach out to all the women and ask them for their help. So
yeah, I had one woman on my podcast and I share this piece all the time. She used to use her list of podcast guests to refer to anytime someone needs a speaker for something or anytime someone needs a referral for something. She's got a spreadsheet with all the podcasters that have been on her show that she can just reach out to and connect with. And I thought, yeah, it's such a valuable list because you've built relationships with everyone.
And also I noticed that too, that some people, they've also pivoted their business. So at one point it was like, oh, maybe we couldn't partner. I don't know where things are going to go. And then we kept in touch. And then it's like, oh yeah, like now I'm actually also doing something similar. I've also pivoted and we're like, okay, this opens new doors of ways to collaborate.
Yeah, love that. Such a cool connection piece. I think people miss that part about podcasting is that to have one, it's like connections, this like automatic connection tool.
Yeah.
And it's so efficient, covers a lot of things. Content check, connections connect check, sales prospecting check, JV partner prospecting check. A lot of good check.
Yeah. A client of mine actually uses it as like sort of like beginning of that funnel, either for a client or for a partner. And it's like, okay, come on my podcast first. And then if you were like a wonderful guest, I'll invite you to my summit, and you invite them to the speaker to the summit. And then from there being like, hey, I've got my webinar coming up. Will you promote it for me? And so it's kind of like this, and then I think he also decided to do some type of directory and wanted to feature them in the directory. So it was this really nice kind of like flow of all the different things that you can do. And again, it's like giving. And then, you can ask for something back. And then they're like, yes, of course I'll promote you. Like no problem at all. You don't need another conversation about it. They just say yes immediately.
Yeah, exactly. You've just like taken that relationship 10 steps deeper in a matter of like 20 minutes than you would have had like a conversation in a coffee shop, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I want to talk about your experience with shifting and pivoting in business, because I think that's something a lot of people have done recently, gone from one thing. And, I love that you started off this podcast as Authentically Elisa, and it still is, but it's just got a slightly different second season to it. But one of the things that you've been and it's funny because it kind of goes full circle, because one of the things that you're like well known for in your own life is like doing like crazy audacious goals and crazy things that like most people would never think about doing. And Elisa just goes and does them all the time, like running a marathon last week and living in different countries in the world. And tell us some of your other crazy audacious goals before I get onto this question.
But some of them I think that you've done too, as in like skydiving and bungee jumping and all these adventure sports, and living in different countries. And I think we've traveled similar amount of countries, like over 50 each.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of what else. And then leaving corporate, becoming an entrepreneur. That was a big that was a big one. That was like one of my most recent ones. Running marathons. I've done some triathlons.
Yeah. And which I think is very cool right now, because I don't know if you've kind of connected this dot before, but it just made me think when we were talking about your podcast, how now you're helping entrepreneurs with their big, crazy goal of launching. So now you get to actually help them in a way that you originally thought you were going to do it in business around life coaching, but you actually are doing the exact same thing is what you thought you were going to be doing, but it's just in a different context. So I hadn't really thought about that until just now.
That's such a great connection. I hadn't thought of that either. Yeah, because a lot of coaches, at the beginning, it's like, there's still more stuff to do. And so they kind of lose their confidence, because you used to help people with confidence. And so it's like, no, come on, we can do it. Like, it's totally doable. I'll break it down for you and just, give it to you bit by bit, and we'll get it done. Yeah. So I kind of boost them up. That's hilarious. I hadn't made that connection.
Yeah. And that's like really your zone of genius is taking something that's big and crazy and like out there thinking that's too far, like launching something or, running a marathon or something. You chunk it down, make it small, make it achievable, and make it like make sense and plan that all out for people, which is so brilliant. A lot of people just don't have that skill.
And it's funny because you're right. It comes naturally to me, and so I'm like, this is just kind of the way my brain works. And it's funny sometimes I'll have a client, and they'll be like, well, what about this? What about this? We got to make sure we do this and this and this. And I'm like, yep, 100%. It's all in the plan, and that is scheduled for 3 weeks from now, and that is scheduled for a month from now. And for 2 months.
You take the overwhelm of like how I would just go about a goal and just like be like, oh my God, so many things I have to do like all at once. And then you're just like, no, we just do this little thing and this little thing. Yeah. That all adds up to getting it all done easily and efficiently. And like, that's it. It's like,
Yeah.
I thought it was like crazy like this. And then really it's not.
Not so much. Yeah. And I like to break it down week by week as well and be like, okay, like I just want you to focus on these 10 things this week. This is what we need from you, because, and then I know how things tie. And like, if you can give me this, and I can take away, and because I also offer a bit of a done for you service as well. So like, okay, if you give me this, and I can go do that, work on this, it's going to coordinate everybody. Yeah. And I always tell them, trust the process, trust the plan. And like, I know you're thinking about that right now, and yes, we're going to do it, but you trust the plan. Well, I promise you we'll get to it.
I got you. I'm holding your hand through this.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. And you're like clearly working in your zone of genius because you think it's so fun and easy for you to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I just brought on a new client, and she was like, saying about how, I will give it to you week by week, and I can give it to you in a checklist. She was like, a checklist? I love a checklist. So you're like, Katie's checklist. And she was super excited about it. And just, it's always kind of fun to put that together because she was looking forward to it. So yeah,
it's a Christmas present, right?
Yeah, a little bit. You go.
So being a high vibe leader, you work with obviously high vibe entrepreneurs. What is something that's important to you about being a high vibe leader?
I think that when we're in like a higher frequency and we're vibing that way, that we can do so much more good in the world, and we can work with such amazing people. Like it blows my mind right now. Like I think about being in the corporate world and how there was at times so much toxicity, and and even because I worked in software development, and so you would think that how like women were such a small subset of that we would like bind together, but actually it was quite competitive. Where like if I was going to go the ranks where I had a manager, they would find me as a threat. And so like, wasn't so great, but being an entrepreneur and being in this whole coaching world, just, I feel like so many people are in that high vibe and they are high vibe leaders and really want to do good for the world. And so it's just amazing being surrounded by so many kind people who want to make the world a better place, and it just like, I'm so grateful for it every single day. And I think about that and I hear other stories and I'm like, oh yeah, I don't have to do that anymore. Like, I don't have to worry about that. Like, that's not part of my world anymore. And it's just so awesome. So I think that is really important, because the more people that we have, the more high vibe leaders that we have in this world, I think, the world will be a better place, and we will have more businesses that are with integrity and that they're just living in their authenticity. And I think also when you are in that place of being authentic and you're in integrity and you've got a high vibe going on, you attract more of your right fit people, and you attract, like good things to happen, and the things that you manifest better. And so I think it's just so important.
Yeah, I love that. I think, and especially the podcast, right? I don't think there's a way that you could be unauthentic with a podcast, because like, you can only pretend for so many episodes, and then you'll have to let your real personality out of there. Like, you have to be authentic when you're podcasting. And it's so cool because we get to be in this like collaborative space where people have done some personal development, they're out there wanting to like do big things and make an impact in like, they've risen their vibe, and then surrounding yourself with other people just helps us all like lift each other up, which I think is really cool. We're in and not all of the entrepreneurial world also is like that. I think we found a very, very cool space that we connect with people. And I just like wake up every day. I'm like, oh my God, I'm working with someone that's done this or someone that's doing that. It's just like, it's crazy. It was so inspiring to see what people are just out there achieving their goals and making big impacts and big waves in the world. So
yeah. And it blew my mind, like, because coming out of corporate and being a corporate for so long, I think I was in corporate for like 20 years, more than that. And so it was like, I don't know, you just had your job and you did your job and just like, like you just did what you were paid to do. And then seeing this entrepreneur world, and seeing the amazing things that people are doing, and how creative they are with it, and how they're finding like, oh, this is an issue that people have, I can help you solve it. Like, and sometimes I just think, like, this is crazy. What am I doing? Like, how am I actually making money right now? Like, what is going on? Like, this is so, it's a crazy world. And I feel like, isn't it really low percentage? Isn't it like 1%ers? I don't know what it is, but of that people are actually are entrepreneurs. And so we're in.
Yes. And then there's like a whole other like women in business being successful too. That's like a whole other like another layer. So Lisa, we're nailing it.
And that's the thing that I find too, is that in this space that we're in, there's so many things where a lot of people focus on wanting to help women specifically, which I think is also awesome. Like I was saying, compared to what I experienced in corporate where it was competitive, this was like, oh no, like I'm here to actually raise women up.
And celebrate each other, like instead of like beating each other down and trying to compete for jobs or whatever. Like,
yeah.
What's our place to be in? Totally. Well, thank you for the work that you're doing in this world, Elisa. It's been so fun to have you join me in this entrepreneurial journey. And it's been so fun that we've been able to collaborate our networks and have you join us on the High Vibe Podcast Network. It's so fun. And if you have one piece of advice for our listeners out there who are high vibe and wanting to keep their vibe high and do good in this world, what's your piece of advice for them?
Well, first, I also wanted to just thank you. I know when I got into the entrepreneur space and like knew that you were here and like got into your world, like you've helped me a lot. So I just wanted to really thank you for that. And you've always been so supportive and bringing me onto your network, and you're always thinking of me. I'm so grateful to you. And I think that is part of keeping the high vibe is appreciating, being an entrepreneur is hard, but there's something that you can be happy and grateful for every single day. And so really think about that and kind of, and I think that'll really keep your vibe high, and also focusing on your sort of your mission or your why. I think that also keeps our vibe high, and that really can motivate us. But I would say at every point in time, at least one point in time every day, think about, why you're so happy being in this space and so grateful for.
Ooh, I like it. The attitude of gratitude. Well, thanks so much, Elisa. We'll have you back again in a while. Have fun out there, guys. Make sure you go check out Elisa's show, Authentically Elisa. It is right here on the High Vibe Podcast Network. Thanks, Elisa. Love you. Thanks for being here.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the High Vibe Podcast Network, where you get to meet the voices shaping the new earth. Want to launch your own High Vibe show, or do you want to grab all the gifts from our podcast hosts? Head on over to highvibepodcastnetwork.com, grab your gifts from each of the hosts, and join our movement. Until next time, stay visible, stay soul aligned, and keep raising the vibe.